Bienvenidos a la clase de Español 1. Welcome back to Spanish 1 class, and today's the big day. We'll be taking our Chapter 10 test today. Once we're finished with that Chapter 10 test, we'll be looking at our next chapter and just introducing Lesson 28 just a bit. In that introduction, we'll be introducing our next verse, which is Primero de los Corintios 15:3b. We'll be talking a little bit about the amazing country of Peru. We'll be introducing some food that is typically eaten in Hispanic countries, going over a few vowels, and then talking about some cognates. So just a quick introduction to some of the concepts that we'll be focusing on in Chapter 11 after we finish this Capítulo 10 examen, this Chapter 10 test. So let's go ahead and get going on this Chapter 10 test. Go ahead and clear your area. You'll need a blue or black pen and your cover sheet. Let's get this test taken, and then we'll come back together as soon as you're done with that test. All right, I hope that test went well for you, that you did your very best on it. I'll get those graded and get those returned to you just as quickly as I can. Now that we've finished up with Chapter 10, and I hope we had great success with that chapter, let's move on to Chapter 11. Now, Chapter 11 is going to be made up of 3 different lessons. The first one is Lesson 28. We'll begin by looking at Peru. In your textbooks, on página 231, that's 231 in your textbooks, you'll see your textbooks information box on Peru. Peru is an amazing country that is often overlooked, with many of its neighbors getting a lot more popularity in geographical study. But Peru is an amazing country. You can read for yourself there on página 231 the geographical information that our textbook gives us. But additionally, I'd like you to take some time. I've added a video to our playlist, the top 10 reasons to visit Peru. And I think it gives us a great snapshot of some of the amazing things that can be found there in the country of Peru. So take a look at that, and remember as well that you are responsible for the information that's located here on página 231. So I hope you've read that through, and I hope you've read it through carefully. La capital de Peru, the capital of Peru, es Lima. Lima es la capital. Our verse for this lesson is Primero de los Corintios 15:3b. Let's listen together as we review this verse and start to commit it to memory, because you will need to be able to write this verse for this lesson quiz. Let's listen together.
Capítulo 11, lección 28. Parte 1. Versículo. Primera de Corintios 15:3b. Cristo murió por nuestros pecados, conforme a las Escrituras. Repeat each phrase in the pauses provided. Primera de Corintios. (15:3b). Primera de Corintios 15:3b. Cristo murió por nuestros pecados. Conforme a las Escrituras. Try to say each phrase before you hear it on the tape. Primera de Corintios 15:3b. Cristo murió por nuestros pecados. Conforme a las Escrituras. Say the entire verse with the reference before and after. Primera de Corintios 15:3b. Cristo murió por nuestros pecados, conforme a las Escrituras. Primera de Corintios 15:3b.
All right, so that's our verse for this lesson. Primera Corintios 15:3b. Let's see if we can do some missing word practice and determine exactly what some of these words are and what they mean. ¿Cuál palabra nos falta aquí, clase? ¿Cuál palabra? La respuesta es pecados. Sin, pecados. ¿Y la próxima? ¿Cuál palabra nos falta aquí? La respuesta es escrituras, scriptures, escrituras. La próxima, ¿cuál palabra nos falta aquí? La respuesta es murió, died, murió. Notice that's the preterite that we've been talking about for several lessons now. La próxima, ¿cuál palabra nos falta aquí? La respuesta es conforme, according to, or conformed to. Y la última, the last one that we have, ¿cuál palabra nos falta aquí, clase? Well, if you're paying attention, there's only one choice left, and that is por. Por is for. Por. All right, so what does this verse say? Cristo murió por nuestros pecados. Christ died for our sins, conforme a las escrituras, according to the scriptures. Primera Corintios 15:3b. 1 Corinthians 15:3b. Again, keep working on that verse so that you have it down for our lesson quiz, and you can write that out on the quiz and get all the points for it. All right, moving along today, we're going to talk about some pronunciación. We're going to talk about las vocales. Now, one of my Spanish teachers from years gone by always said that if you can master the Spanish vowels, you have done the majority of the hard work in Spanish pronunciation. The vowels are very simple, but sometimes they're a little bit different. But vowels in Spanish are pure vowels. In English, we have A, E, I, O, and U. Those are our vowels, but they make so many different sounds. Well, in Spanish, a vowel sound and its name are the same, and that's the sound that it makes. So we have A, E, I, O, U, and those are the sounds that those vowels make. Not only are they their names, but they are their sounds, and there are very, very few exceptions. A, E, I, O, U. And make sure that they are pure sounds. They are not diphthongs. So we don't say A, and then we don't say A. A is not right. It would be E. A, E, I, and here's another one, O. O is a pure vowel sound. It's not O like we would say in English. It's O. A, E, I, O, U. Let's practice some of these.
Lección 28, parte 5. Pronunciación. Follow along on page 236 of your textbook. Las vocales. In Spanish, all vowels are pronounced with a true vowel sound. Be careful to avoid the schwa sound so often given to unstressed vowels in English, such as in accommodate and aristocrat. Practique las palabras. Diccionario. Escritorio. Juveniles. Practique las frases.
Busca el versículo 6 del capítulo 8 de Romanos. El diccionario está encima del escritorio. El pastor predicó del Nuevo Testamento.
So work on those Spanish pronunciations of those vowels, and you'll have the majority of your work for Spanish pronunciation done. Let's continue on in our class today with our cognados. Remember that our cognados are words that are very similar, sometimes identical, but they're words that are very similar from English to Spanish or from Spanish to English. So today we're looking at words that end in ate in English. And many of those words, like anticipate, will just replace the ate with ar in Spanish, and we will get that same verb. So for anticipate, we would have anticipar, and that would give us the word that we need to speak that word in Spanish. That skill is something that you can apply to many different words in English to get a really quick translation into Spanish. Words like appreciate, which would become apreciar. So did you notice how even the double consonant in appreciate, in English we have A-P-P-R-E-C, but we don't use double consonants like that in Spanish. So we have apreciar with just the single P, the single P. Celebrate would be celebrar. Conjugate, conjugar. Create, crear. Notice each of these, that ATE is changing to AR to get the Spanish verb. Educate, educar. Associate, asociar. Concentrate, concentrar. Cooperate, cooperar. Demonstrate. Notice the N disappears in this one, a little bit different. Demonstrate becomes demostrar. Exaggerate, exagerar. So you can see how we get rid of those double letters. But let's hear what you think about some of these. How would you do this if you saw a word in English that ended in ATE and you needed to change that to an AR verb in Spanish? What about graduate? What would that be? Go ahead and say it. Graduar. What about lubricate? Lubricar. Obligate. Obligar. I hope you're getting those vowel sounds in there. Obligar, not obligar. Obligar. What about recuperate? Recuperar. Remember that initial R in Spanish words will be rolled. So it's not recuperar, it's recuperar. Imitate? Imitar. Necessitate? Here's a double vowel. Or not a double vowel, I'm sorry, a double consonant. We see that double S, we've got to get rid of it. So necesitar, with just the single S, necesitar. Predominate. Go ahead, say what you think. Predominar. And then terminate. Terminar. I hope as we do these that you are speaking out and saying the words, that oral practice will help you as you develop your skills to speak the language and not just hear it. Moving on today, we have some examples of some Spanish food. La comida en los países hispanos. This, in your textbook, is on página 237. And I want to work through this with you just a little bit as we look at some typical foods and some customs that deal with culinary specialties in Latin American countries. La comida de los países hispanos no es igual en todos los países. So Hispanic food is not the same in every country that speaks Spanish. A lot of times we have a misunderstanding of some of the foods that are served, and we make generalizations about the foods that are served in countries that speak Spanish. Cada país tiene su especialidad. Each country has a specialty or many specialties that are really exclusive to that country. Sin embargo, however, el arroz y los frijoles, rice and beans, es un plato muy común en toda Latinoamérica. Every country in Latin America will make use of rice and beans in some way. Now, maybe some countries would focus on frijoles negros, black beans, or red beans, or kidney beans, but rice and beans is a staple in most Spanish-speaking countries. En Mexico, la tortilla de maíz o de harina es la base de muchos platos. Tacos, enchiladas, tostadas. So in Mexico, the corn or the flour tortilla makes the base of a lot of famous dishes that we think of when we think of Mexican food. Tacos, enchiladas, tostadas. Además, what is more, a los mexicanos les gusta la comida picante. In general, Mexican food will tend to be a little more spicy than other Spanish-speaking foods or other foods from Spanish-speaking countries, not Spanish-speaking foods. En otros países no se come lo picante. In other countries, they don't eat as spicy as food as the Mexican country would. En Perú, la gente come muchas papas. In Peru, potatoes are a big part of the diet, more so even than in other countries. Papas blancas, white potatoes, papas amarillas, you know your colors here, yellow potatoes, papas moradas, that would be purple potatoes, y papas anaranjadas, orange potatoes. So a lot of different colored potatoes, but potatoes make up a big part of the Peruvian diet. La papa es nativa de Perú. It is a native food of Peru. Importante a la dieta de los argentinos, important to the diet of Argentine people, es la carne de res. This is beef. Carne de res is beef, and it's a very important part of the diet in Argentina. Argentina raises a lot of cattle, puesto que en Argentina se produce mucho ganado, and so beef obviously is a big part of their food. En el Caribe, in the Caribbean, we have Cuba, Puerto Rico, la República Dominicana. El plato principal consiste en arroz, habichuelas, y carne. In our Caribbean Spanish-speaking countries, the main dish is going to consist of rice, frijoles, beans, y carne, and meat. Además, los caribeños comen viandas como el plátano, la yuca, y la batata. The foods that are served in a lot of these Caribbean countries are also the plantain, which we know the plantain is that more savory, looks like a banana, but it's not sweet. It's more savory and it's often cooked. Well, it is cooked. La yuca, if you haven't had yuca, that's a root vegetable that's cooked many different ways. Y la batata. La batata is different than a potato. La batata would be the sweet potato, which is a big part of Caribbean foods as well. En todos los países tropicales, in all of these tropical countries, se consume mucha fruta. A lot of fruit is eaten. Naranja, which you should know is orange. Toronja, which is grapefruit. Limón, lemons or limes. Mango, mango. Banano are those smaller bananas, or guineo that you might see at the market. Papaya, y caña de azúcar, which is sugar cane. So a lot of these fruits in tropical countries as well. All right. So those are just a few details about some of the foods that are eaten in Hispanic countries. I'd like you to look through that cuestionario and see how many of those questions that you could find answers to from the reading that we just looked at. Look through those questions. Go ahead and pause the video. Look through those questions and see, even if you can give 1 or 2 word answers to some of these questions, but how well are you understanding what we just went over in Spanish? So find the answers to those questions and see how you can do on those. All right, I hope you found some of those answers in that reading, and let's go ahead and move on. And let's look at el diálogo. The dialogue for this lesson is found back in your textbook on página 232, 232. And you can take a listen to this as we talk about el comilón. El comilón is a person, or specifically a guy, that would have a huge greedy appetite, a big greedy eater. So let's take a look at this and let's listen to this as our Spanish speaker reads the dialogue.
Lección 28, parte 2. Diálogo. Follow along on page 232 of your textbook.
El comilón.
Pepe, quiero contarte lo que pasó anoche.
¿Qué pasó?
Invité a Paco al restaurante nuevo en la calle central y no puedes imaginarte cuánto él comió.
Pero cuéntame.
Llegamos a las 7. Cuando entramos, Paco dijo que no tenía mucha hambre.
Paco siempre dice así.
Yo pedí arroz con pollo y una ensalada de lechuga y tomate. Pero Paco pidió una comida grande de bistec, arroz y frijoles, ensalada, papas fritas y postre de frutas.
¿Paco pidió toda esa comida y no tenía hambre?
Sí, precisamente. Y cuando le sirvieron la comida, él decidió pedir otro plato de chuletas de cerdo.
¿Le trajeron un plato de chuletas de cerdo también?
Sí.
¿Se lo comió todo?
No solo se comió toda la comida, pero se repitió el postre. No salimos hasta las 9:30.
¿Qué, Paco? Me imagino que no durmió bien anoche, después de comer tanto.
Lo vi esta mañana y me dijo que durmió bien. Esta mañana se desayunó con nada más que una banana.
Paco es un comilón.
Es que Paco es grande y tiene que comer mucho. Pero te advierto, no le invites a un restaurante a comer a menos que lleves mucho dinero. Me costó mucho anoche.
Read Pepe's lines in the pauses provided.
Pepe, quiero contarte lo que pasó anoche. Invité a Paco al restaurante nuevo en la calle central y no puedes imaginarte cuánto él comió. Llegamos a las 7. Cuando entramos, Paco dijo que no tenía mucha hambre. Yo pedí arroz con pollo y una ensalada de lechuga y tomate, pero Paco pidió una comida grande de bistec, arroz y frijoles, ensalada, papas fritas y postre de frutas. Sí, precisamente, y cuando le sirvieron la comida, él decidió pedir otro plato de chuletas de cerdo. Sí. No solo se comió toda la comida, pero se repitió el postre. No salimos hasta las 9:30. Lo vi esta mañana y me dijo que durmió bien. Esta mañana se desayunó con nada más que una banana. Es que Paco es grande y tiene que comer mucho. Pero te advierto, no le invites a un restaurante a comer a menos que lleves mucho dinero. Me costó mucho anoche.
All right, so I hope you responded. I hope you read Pepe's lines as we went through that. Again, as we're doing these videos, don't be afraid to speak out and practice using your Spanish when the activity calls for you to do that. So let's see if maybe you might be able to answer a few of these questions that are related to the conversation we just listened to. I want you to go ahead and pause the video here, and I want you to try, even if it's 1 or 2 word answers. You don't necessarily need to answer en frases completas. You don't necessarily need to answer in complete sentences. But if you can answer a few of these questions, that would help you to understand that you are getting what that conversation was talking about. So go through and see how many of these you can answer. Pause the video and write a few of those answers down. Okay, so I hope you were able to find some of those answers. And if you have questions about that, please let me know and we can talk through those. All right, and that wraps things up for us today in our Spanish 1 class. We took our test, and then we introduced Chapter 11, Lesson 28. We talked about 1 Corinthians 15:3b, Primera Corintios 15:3b. We talked a little bit about Peru, and I recommended that you take a look at that video that I put in my playlist there. I hope you watched that. We have food in Hispanic countries. We talked about some different dishes and how maybe some foods differ from country to country in Hispanic countries. We went over our vowels, and I gave you some tips for how to pronounce those vowels. And then we looked at cognates as well. So I hope you had a great lesson, guys. I hope you are participating in the lesson and speaking when you are given the opportunity to speak. Que Dios les bendiga, and we'll see you tomorrow in our next lesson.